Hello, the Intelligent Rebels. I'm Olivier, the French entrepreneur, and for the first video of my English YouTube channel, I wanted to share with you a video that is very important for me. It's an interview I shot a few years ago in 2011 to be exact, with Tim Ferriss. Now, I'm not too much of a fanboy, but I have to say that the book of Tim Ferriss, The 4-Hour Workweek, completely changed my life. Because before the 4-Hour Workweek, I was an average entrepreneur working 60-70 hours a week in my IT company. And when I read the 4-Hour Workweek, I decided to change that. And now I have a business that is in service of my life, instead of my life being in service of my business. And I work way less and I travel 6 months a year while inspiring hundreds of thousands of people in French, and hopefully soon in English. So I was very nervous when I met Tim, as you will see in the video, but you will see also that the content he's sharing is timeless, and I also ask him, is the 4-Hour Workweek really about working 4 hours per week? And maybe his answer will surprise you. So without further ado, here is the interview. So Tim, you are famous for your book, The 4-Hour Workweek. To begin this interview, can you tell us your definition of work? And in your opinion, is this interview work, for example?
It's a good question. So, work for me is something that's either primarily financially driven or something that I want to do less of.
Okay.
So in that case, this I don't view as work. It's just a few minutes before breakfast. We've spent some time together this weekend.
Yeah.
It's more of a conversation between friends for me.
Great. Okay, so in your book you explain that you choose the title after testing it on an AdWords campaign, right? And that it was the most appealing title, the most useful. But correct me if I'm wrong, the content of the book have nothing to do with the fact of just working 4 hours per week, no more, no less.
So I don't make a real emphasis of the 4, but I make one mention.
Yes.
So the 4 was, I was spending between 2 and 4 hours per week in 2005 managing my sports nutrition company from abroad, typically Argentina.
Okay.
And so that was actually the management time per week that I spent on my own business, which was in 15 countries. But the goal is not to get people, every reader, to 4 hours. The objective is to use proper measurement and experimentation to increase the per hour output as much as possible. So let's say you increase your per hour output 10 times, which I think many people can do. If you do that, then you can either take your 40 hours down to 4 and get the same amount done, or you can work the same 40 hours and get 10 times as much done, or you can do something in between. And so a lot of people who read the book, investment bankers, tech CEOs, they still work the same number of hours, they just get a lot more done.
Yeah, and I think some people work less now, but a lot of people don't realize, because I think they don't read the book too deeply, They don't realize that if you work less, you don't have to go at the beach every day.
Yeah, exactly.
The focus of your book is to work just what is really important in your life, so you can free your time to live your passion.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that the biggest misinterpretation of the book is people think the objective is being idle. The objective is sitting on a beach and snowboarding for the rest of your life.
Okay, that's all.
And those are fine as vacations. Those are fun if you do it for a few months after working for many years. That's fine. But ultimately, the goal is to have control of your time, which is your scarcest non-renewable resource. And once you control that time, certainly some people are going to waste that time, even when they have control of it. But hopefully, there'll be a very high percentage of my readers who apply it to make a positive dent in the world, to make an impact. And we've seen that. So whether that's building, after you have your muse, building a company that you then take to IPO or sell, I've had hundreds of readers do that, or people who decide to, let's say, work in nonprofit or help to fundraise or find a cause, has also been very, very common. So we've had some fantastic case studies come out of it. But if a few weeks, few months here and there for snowboarding and fun things like that, that's obviously totally fine. That's part of the message too. You can enjoy it as you go along. You don't have to postpone it all for this retirement 20, 30 years in the future.
Cool. So how many hours do you work per week now?
Well, this week is an exception, I suppose.
Yeah, of course.
But I tend to go through periods of, what's very important to realize about me is that I don't do anything. I really don't do anything that I don't want to do, simply because of finance. I don't. So I'm very busy. You know, I did this event, of course, which was a lot of fun.
It was awesome.
But it wasn't just for, you know, it wasn't just for money, and so I'm very, very busy. You know, I'm about to go into my book deadline with you know, the first book ever published through Amazon, and that's exciting to me. But I would have done the deal even if it was no print distribution and half as much money, you know, hypothetically, because it's exciting to me. So I would say that in any given week, I'm very, very active. So I'm running around, probably starting around 10 or 11 a.m.
Okay.
And I like to focus on different projects late at night. So I might go an entire day, you know, nonstop, working on various fun projects, things that I find fun. But I'll also have the gym and swimming, so forth. But it doesn't bother me to take 3 or 4 weeks off. Like I took 3 weeks off in Colombia recently. I had no email, no calendar, no cell phone.
Wow.
For 3 weeks. And I can do that and nothing falls apart. Everything is fine. So I think that's the ability to say no is just as important as saying no. Of course, it's a prerequisite. But I'm very active. I like to build things.
Yeah, you are better than me because when I go on vacation, I have to check my mail at least 30 minutes a day. So
yeah,
it's my goal to not do that. So, do you use a personal productivity system?
There are a few types of software that I use to help with my productivity.
Yeah.
I don't use a system per se, except for what is explained in the book. So different policies for email, different policies for the most important 1 or 2 to-dos in the first hour of the day. Diet has a big role in productivity, in my opinion. So, of course, like the 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up.
Okay.
Turkish coffee instead of regular coffee. A lot of these little tricks I use for productivity, but I mean, it's actually just a coincidence. It's the only clean clothing I have left.
Yeah, you have the
Evernote. I use Evernote very, very frequently. I mean, on a daily basis, I use it for capturing information so that I don't have different file folders and saving all in different places. Another trick that was taught to me, which is very simple, but when I download things, I don't download them into folders. 99% of the time, I download everything into my download folder and simply search that. And it's a simple idea, but it saves a lot of time because you're not putting things into different folders and finding them in different folders. I just don't delete my download folder. So that was actually from Nivi, from Venture Hacks and Angel List, so thanks Nivi. And that really does end up saving a lot of time because you just use Spotlight, for example, on a Mac to find everything, or Quicksilver or something like that. Otherwise, I really, people think of me as a time management guru.
Yes.
I think I'm more of a prioritization guru. So as long as I know, as long as I measure things carefully so that I know which inputs have the biggest outputs, I'm able to focus on the 1 or 2 things in my to-do list that will affect everything else. You know, the 1 or 2 things.
80 rule. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think I'm very good at being effective, choosing the right things, as opposed to just being efficient. You know, getting very good at doing many things. I'm not very good at doing many things. I'm actually really terrible at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are a fan of Stoic philosophy, and you talk a lot about Seneca on your blog. And how do you try to apply the Stoic philosophy in your life on a day-to-day basis?
There are a few ways that I apply both Stoic philosophy and Epicurean philosophy.
Okay.
I think they complement each other very well in my daily life. The first is when I wake up, I lay in bed, and I actually go through a list of the things that I'm grateful for. First thing when I wake up, and then I remind myself, you always have more than enough time to do the things that are important. You always have enough time. And so that's how I start my day. And then I do, and these seem to blend a bit, but I typically try to do, after I'll have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and then I'll do 5 minutes, it's very short, of Vipassana meditation. I can
Vipassana?
Yeah, Vipassana meditation. And these are all interrelated with Stoic philosophy. So Stoicism is about awareness and 2 things, principally, I think. Number 1 is training yourself not to emotionally over-respond to bad situations or things that are outside of your control. Okay. Very important. And then, so not to react emotionally to anything. That's number one. Number two is to train yourself to value those things, to truly value those things, only those things that cannot be taken away. Right? So teaching yourself not to be attached to, let's say, certain material things. And the way that you can practice that, I mean, I do this every few months. I'll give away at least 2 or 3 bags of clothing.
Okay.
And what I also do is then perhaps for a week or two every 2 months, I'll wear very cheap clothing, like white T-shirts, that you can buy at the grocery store, with 1 pair of jeans, and I'll wear that for a week, and I'll eat very cheap food, so that I'm not concerned. There it is. So that I'm not concerned with the worst case scenario.
Yes.
Right. So when I have these hard decisions, these business deals, potential business partners, and I think about but I could make 10% more money, 20% more money. And if I practice being poor, I realize that I don't need any of that. So it gives me the courage to make the right decisions, the right long-term decisions. And it's a fantastic operating system, I think, for entrepreneurs. And my favorite book, of course, as you know, is Letters from a Stoic. So Letters from a Stoic by Seneca is my number one recommendation.
I think you are one of the rare people that actually really live the Stoic philosophy.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people read it or study it, but...
Yeah, I try really hard. I think another person who does a very good job is Ryan Holiday.
Okay.
You met, he's the director of marketing at American Apparel.
Oh, yeah.
Got the job first at 21 or 22. Very productive guy. Yeah. It's very, very productive. But I find it very practical. So if you're going to read one how-to book, I would say start with some of the classics, and one of them should be Letters from a Stoic.
Cool. So to finish this interview, can you tell us a little bit about your next project?
Yeah, so the next project's very exciting. It's the 4-Hour Chef, which was very unexpected. It came about in a very strange way, meeting a number of people, somewhere between 5 and 10 people involved in restaurants and cooking and food and slaughtering and so forth, hunting. I never had any interest in cooking, zero. I thought it was a pain in the ass. I thought it was difficult, time-consuming. You'd have to wash dishes, all of this stuff that kept me from learning how to cook. Scrambled eggs, that's it. Scrambled eggs, maybe some toast, before slow carb. And I just became fascinated with food and how people relate to food, and how you can learn philosophy through food, how you can learn productivity through food. So you can take cooking and turn it into a tool for teaching a lot of things. And that got me very excited. There are also a lot of ways to cheat, to make some amazing meals that take 10 minutes, 15 minutes. There are a lot of ways to cheat, so in a good way. And so the 4-Hour Chef will be, I think, one of the most unusual cookbooks ever made. And I'm hoping it's a cookbook for people who don't cook.
Awesome. So I will have to buy it.
Yeah. And it's going to be done with Amazon, and it's the first book for their new New York City office. So that's very exciting. It was on the cover of the New York Times last week, and very exciting stuff. So I feel very fortunate. I've had a pretty wild adventure the last few years.
Cool. So thanks, Tim. I really, really love to have done this interview with you. Your book totally changed my life, and I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Tim.
Thank you for the interview. Of course.
Bye.
So guys, I hope you liked this interview. I also hope that my accent improved at least a little bit since then. If you liked it, feel free to share it with maybe a friend who will be interested. Feel free also to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to have more videos about entrepreneurship with my incredibly amazing and charming French accent. Thank you for watching, and see you soon. And don't forget, be intelligent, be rebel, and be part of people who act. Bye.